I have something to say about myself deceased. I am holding harm in the money. The heads on the money, US dollars, and the currency that spins off of US dollars. The heads on the money are the dung genital deceased the wrong way, with leaving heads on the money, and the money is low. But I have a condition, it's not true. There's something wrong with my lifetime where I didn't get keys and banking that I needed just for the appointed money for myself to pay the charges to myself, and that you don't know who I am. It's if it starts that way, that a cashier or attendant doesn't know who I am and doesn't give me everything for myself, to myself, that is mine, because I am myself, this soul. Pretty much I went through my whole life waiting for God to give me money and keys that I worked for, and I couldn't get them. And that's you having embezzled, and I'm not in the maliciousness because I am myself. So I don't have a way out of this other than I want my money back. I need it purged out of you, and I need it given back to myself by you, exactly because you took it from me personally, because you had something against me personally. So you, including Donna, my mom, Hans, my dad, friends, like when I was invited over to friends' houses, that's malicious. But I had to go at the time because I had mom and dad in my house. So friends, malicious would be like Abby Schoenfeld, and then Joellen Myroff, Robin Gilson, Abby Bush, Katie Seifert, Lynn Custer. And these are girls that I'm naming, most of them. Hans is my dad figure, but most of the other people I named are girls, and most of them are my age. I could keep going. Elizabeth Chorus. I was at somebody's house named Mrs. Solachek with a younger Solachek named Barry Solachek, who's a female, is about maybe 8 years older than myself, which was a lot at the time, but it's not a lot now. So I was at that house and locked out. And then there's, what other friends? Amy Yano, she's not really a very nice friend, but I have worse problems now. I went to Amy Mueller's house in Minnesota and I didn't get anything out of it. What do you people think that I'm here to? Because Joellen is this argument. She said this to me on the phone in the year 2006. I know you want to see me, but it's not time for me to be in Wisconsin right now. And that's you saying, like, let's say that's everyone, of everyone I just listed. If they all said, I know you want to see me, but I don't have time, you're all saying that you are God to myself, because you're not alone when you're saying that to me. Do you want to be alone? You might want to be alone, but you're not alive that way, that you're alone. You don't hold alive alone. So you made me pay for that. You wanted to be alone to yourself and alive, and that's just delusional. I need my money out of you. I need that you give it back to me personally, exactly the same way you took it away from me personally using human trafficking, which is high-speed dangerous. Yeah, I don't actually deserve that. There's a home invasion in my house that really is not justifiable. Uh, I realize that Jesus does not hold alive in my house. And that's how I'm alive here. But the problems that are in my house, they are not due inside my house. You are volunteers to be in my house because my house is not entrapment. You don't have to be in my house. And you've become so delusional, you think I don't have a home at all because you have keys and you're trying to weigh in the key in your hand to be deceased, the formed house, and it would be just that house out of all of the houses in Alive. You don't have the keys to all of the houses in Alive of the formed world. And you don't have a key that will open every house in the formed world for you only. So you're wrong right there. You owe me my money back. You owe me what was mine to myself, and you owe me that I didn't have to work because you stole what I worked for and I had to keep working because I didn't have what I needed. I didn't have a choice. Does anybody want to live this way? Do you want to get born again and have the problem I have? I need to purge it out of you because that's how you don't put yourself in karma, even though I don't alive the world for you anymore. That's how you don't have it paid for, that you don't alive again. You would be like aliving yourself and there'd be no addressed buildings and houses for any keys to fit. You're stuck with keys on yourself, like what your genitals are. If you have a penis, you have a key in your penis, and you're past that, you're below that. You have keys that don't all align on your body in a penis. You have other keys elsewhere in other ways. You have animals that are not in the zoo. You have animals in Africa. Why are the animals in Africa and the people aren't in Africa? Because it's due for anyone with a penis to be in Africa, like an animal would be in Africa if it didn't die in a zoo. And why would you worry about that? Do you worry about if an animal in the zoo dies in the zoo or if it dies in Africa? Well, how could you worry about that? Do you hear the voice of God inside yourself say, the animal didn't die in the zoo because, and it's you needing to watch the animal closely to know why it didn't die in the zoo. Well, you still wouldn't know because you're not itself. You could watch it 8 hours a day like a job, and then maybe you have to rest because you can't watch it with your eyes and ears. You can't be holding your own attention on an animal the same way that it is itself an animal. And then you would not know all of it, what it is for an animal to be died out of a zoo in such a way that it would not be alive in Africa, just out and about in the plains of Africa. Comments on YouTube. What's the username this time? I can't say. There's another username that said you need to be off of YouTube. I've been on YouTube for about a year now. And I didn't post the first video myself, so I have criminal liability to be on YouTube, or I'm not here. And with the criminal liability to be on YouTube, there are still dissenters like yourselves that say you need to be off of YouTube. You should be off of YouTube. You are off of YouTube is due to yourself, but you don't have any sort of angle to say that because your genitals are on yourself. You're talking to me, I know you're talking to me, I know you're talking to me about myself, but you have genitals on yourself. If you want to fight with your genitals on yourself, you have to fight with somebody who is starting it with you. That means I have to identify yourself and start a fight with you about yourself, and then you can fight back. You can't be you and start a fight with me because I don't identify you that way. You can't talk to me about myself and tell me I should be off YouTube because you are not really you, and that I am starting a fight with you and saying you username blank, you need to be off YouTube. That's what you would see if you were seeing God to yourself. You can't be that God to myself because you're not in dispute. You're the one who's talking. You're breaking the ice. Icebreakers gum. Icebreakers mints. For all those out there who say Charles Toe username account should be turned off and put off of YouTube, I'm saying that's icebreakers gum. You're doing a walled-in prison for the fighting, and it's a mass grave. And then it's more than that. It would happen again. You talk about things. You threaten myself, and you're not God, because that's me trying to start that with you. I would start that with you, but I would not do that over the internet. Like I would start it with you. You need to be off YouTube, and I'm going to find you at your address. I'm going to shut off your equipment. I'm going to lock you in jail, and I'm going to stay in there with you, and I'm going to kill you. Well, that's the threatening you're making. I'm female, and I'm not interested in that as a female. So, responses to that I made to comments saying you should be off YouTube. Response, I did say get out twice. Yep, well, I'm talking to what I can see, and I am God above creating the posting, and it's created on the internet. And you can't eliminate that God is alive in the internet and just tell somebody that they should be off YouTube because you don't like the content. And that's you identifying yourself. I don't like the content on the Charles Toe YouTube channel. I want it shut off of YouTube, and you want to continue to use YouTube. That's the threatening you're making. And I'm saying that's against your genitals, because the threatening you're really making in God is that you want me to tell you that I'm going to come and find you. I'm going to put you in a prison, and then I'm going to put you in the morgue. I'm going to put a bullet in your head, and I'm going to watch you in the morgue as your medical examiner. And that's not true that I would. I am not a male. And if you have a penis, you don't have enough leverage to do that. So what are you talking about with the penis? How do you know how to tell somebody, I think you should be off YouTube? You have a penis. How do you possibly know how to say that to somebody else? Do you just want them out of your vision and your hearing? Who? Because that's me needing to identify myself to the God above myself and tell him to tell you to stop. But he won't, because you have a penis. You're impossible. You belong in Africa.